Hey guys, this is Kirob speaking, and today we are back in Photoshop for the judging of our automation design competition. It is category number 2, the Jupiter Callisto, and we are about halfway through the judging of this category, and we shall jump straight back into it after I've once again declared that I'm trying to keep it a little bit more concise, but my tangents are still inevitable, it seems. Anyway, so here we go. The first picture is loaded in, and that is in need of some effing. There you go. There you go. The Jupiter Callisto by Leslie Angelo. Yes. Okay. Very, very nice. Quite an impactful image straight away, but that's not what we're here to look at. Right now, what is the design? Design, I see you do have some subtle lines there. Chose to not chrome it from the looks of it. That's fine. Although that's something I would expect a little later, maybe. Maybe mid-60s, 70s, maybe. But yeah, it's quite a good looking car. I'm not so sure if this one would be functional. That is quite far to this side. I don't think those were like depends on how far back you're sitting. But anyway, yeah, it's good. It's good. And the rear is quite fancy, nice and simple. Keeping it nice and simple, very good. The sides have some more chromy bits, and that is that a massive chromy bit? It's like a hyper thick chromy bit. That's nice and subtle, this one there. We can't, of course, see the front, but yeah, it's fine from the side and rear. It's nothing that's really sticks out as being bad. It seems like a really solid design, maybe a little bit better than solid. 5.5. And the photo itself, I really like the lighting and the feel, the mood of the image. Some grand scenery as well. One thing I would like to point out, though, is that while the picture suggests this direction towards the sun, so shorten that straight through there, the car travels exactly, well, not exactly, as you can see. This is perfect 90-degree angle. Not, but it's close to. It is close to. And I think if they were a little bit more aligned, so this vector a little bit further this way, I think the image overall would be slightly stronger. Because, yeah, why is that? Why do I think this? You've framed it nicely. Like, you see all of the road where you're going. It feels like a very settled image. It feels like a happy image, a happy place to be. There's no uncertainty in it because you can see perfectly where you're going and where you're traveling, and infinity too. So, and no dicks in the sky either. No crashes into the cliffs. Although lit up brake lights, which certainly help in that instance to make sure. Overall, I think nice detail in the scene. Lighting is very nice. The composition, like I said, I think the directional discrepancy here is a little too large, but it is a good image. It is nicely crafted. The image probably a 6.5. And next up is Moon. Very similar concept here. Different execution. That is looking quite fancy. Well, do we have a supercharged version? I didn't know about that. Okay, let's look at the design. That is a little overkill, this air intake. Looks very muscle car-y, and it's a good look. I really like the look. I don't know if it's entirely fitting, especially side exhaust there too, and stuff. That is a little hot. This is a little hot roddy. These things here. That's not quite what we aimed for. I like the look of it, however. I think the design is quite solid. There's nothing that really sticks out to me. So I think I just straight up say this is a solid design. Maybe a little bit more. There's some attention to detail here, which I quite like. Well, definitely not in the branding. That is awful. Just, well, some kind of distorted automation logo on there. It almost looks like the melted Discord emoji we have for automation, for when automation fucks up and deletes all your cars or something. Windscreen wipers and so on. So yeah, it has some nice detail. It kind of misses the mark a little, but maybe a bit more than solid, because there is something to it. I like the design. So 5.5 for the design here as well. And the image, I really, really like this setup with the sun straight above the road over here, and then the stark shadow being cast, and this curve around the golden ratio, like basically there, and where that's a little too far towards the third. Golden ratio does not equal thirds. The golden ratio stuff is basically, oh no, let's say it differently. The rule of thirds is the golden ratio for dummies, just so you know. It's like whenever you hear someone say, like, oh, place it on the thirds, either they have considered all the circumstantial things in the image, or they are just photo dummies or composition dummies, because that's not how it works. Rule of thirds, quite useful if you want to create a lot of tension in the image, because removing anything from the golden ratio creates a bit of tension if it's composed well. And that is basically a rubber band which you can stretch, and if you don't compose it well, it rips apart, and then the effect is lost, and you stand there like a mofo who doesn't know anything about composition. So that has certainly happened to me a lot of times. But let's not talk about this. Instead, this image, fantastic in that sense. Like the little highlighting the sun, well, that was my Skype. Sorry, no, my Discord. So I should probably mute that. Anyway, the road, very nice and slinky. I'm not a fan of the car being that far down. I think this would have been better. And this is such a constant thing you hear from me. I know, I'm keep going on about it, but there's some dicks living in the sky. This is a really fat one. And there's not much to see here in the sky. Like overall, the angle and stuff is good, but the car is so close to the bottom here. So let me just rearrange it slightly and see if that has the desired effect or not. Alright, we shift F5 the bastard. I've added 80 pixels down here. Oh, that did kind of managed. Alright, almost. Well, there's some artifacts there from the background there. That's fine. So now we recrop it to what I see. Oh, come on, you can. Fuck you, Photoshop. Why doesn't it work? Why can't I fucking move this window? So fucking annoying. Why doesn't it work? Why can't you just move the frame you have set? That would make perfect sense, wouldn't it? Anyway, all right, now let's take a look at what this does for the composition. So we started with this framing. That is the original framing. And now I would advocate for moving this down so that the golden ratio is basically there. So let's move this a little bit further like this. And I think we are good there. We didn't quite need 80 pixels, but more like 50. And there you have it. I think this is a very strong composition if you go that way. Look at that. So we added a little bit. It doesn't feel quite as close to the border. You're not missing anything in the sky, and it just looks great. But anyway, the image, despite that, is really good. The one thing I would point out is that the focus is odd, as it is not on the front of the car, but rather on the side mirrors and side exhaust. But otherwise, I like the blur effect and so on. So, well done. I think the photo itself and the scene composition and so on is probably a 7.5. I really like it, despite the flaws with it. And next up is Micon P7. And this car looks quite fancy. The badging sure works. I'm not so sure about this here, the inlet to the engine. There's more scramjet intake. And what is this? Ah, kind of a tray for luggage, probably. And what are these things? Oh, let me just grab my my marker. There we go. So, what are these? That is a little odd, and they certainly don't work for you in this image with the reflections being that odd. They look like you've hit a wall, and that's not great. But otherwise, the design, I think it looks the deal. It really looks the deal. Badging's fantastic there. Overall, nice front. Looks elegant. And everything flows together, some nice detailing and so on. Chromey strip down the side, connecting front and back. Yeah, the lights are nicely placed. Also, this, the little lamp shade there almost. Is this part of this lamp or is this custom made? Anyway, it's looking really good. So yeah, overall, I think the design is sweet. That's a 6.5 now. Is it a 7? Maybe not quite a 7, but a 6.5 is definitely there. That's a guaranteed one. So 6.5. 6.5 you get for that. Now the image. Yeah, I'm not generally a fan of it. It is a very solid shot. There are some really dark areas in that which kind of hide the car, while others are too bright and take away from the color of the paint. Of course, that's Automation's doing and the shaders at work and the scene in general. But yeah, it's not much you can do about it apart from taking the different picture. Yeah, it's a solid car shot. It really shows the car off, but it's not a wow shot. Is there anything else I can say about it? Not really. It's definitely solid, maybe a little bit more than solid. Yeah, let's go for 5.5. And next up is Nalfar, with an unedited version. All right, let's have a look. Yeah. First thing that comes to mind is, wow, that car looks tiny in this photo, and I think I know why that is. It's because of the depth of field choice and the angle that was chosen. But anyway, let's take a look at the design. Well, if you can really see the design, because the front is not in focus. The sides are. And from what I can see, a large hood scoop, but quite shallow. It's fine. Front, solid. The sides, yeah, solid. Quite nice, actually. This I would like to see more of. Not make it larger, but I would like to see more of it to really judge if it's well done or not. And then convertible version, nice layout here with the vents, the antenna, and the windscreen wipers. That is well done. Overall, quite solid. A little boring on the front. There's nothing that really sticks out to me, but very solid. And the sides are probably a little bit more than solid as well as this. So, is it a good design? Almost. So 5.5. Pretty good. Now the photo. Yeah. I think this looks more like a miniature than a proper sized car. And that is most likely because you have taken a photo of on a very large, almost homogeneous surface. Like this, and then the focus itself almost looks a little tilt shifty, and that is not quite what you want in order to make the car look impressive. I think that is the main issue here. Focus should probably be on the eyes on the front, and while the background is nice and blurred, almost a little too much. Too much. I would have liked to see more of the car being in focus in this one. And the movement going on is not very apparent. It looks like it's supposed to be moving, actually being in motion. this car. The wheels look more blurred than just standing still. Maybe they aren't. It's hard to tell because of all the depth of field blur you have going on there. But yeah, I would say it's a mediocre image. A color scheme, like, I don't think the color scheme matches with the car. It doesn't make the car stand out more. It kind of camouflages the car. That's something to think of as well when taking these images. Anyway, I think this is a 4.5. And the next one is by Storminator. If I pronounce that right. Yeah, maybe. Let's have a look here. Well, what do we see? It's a very different design. You have morphed the car quite a bit. And that is not against the rules or anything. It's just that, it's very different design challenge in that way. Have you done well, though? I think what you have done with the front works well with what you've done to the morphs. So that is certainly functional in design. Very much more Porsche looking that way. Other than that, the sides, yeah, there's a little bit of subtle lining going on. Nice windscreen wipers, the hood scoop there, quite nice as well. The badging is more than adequate, and not sure about the teeth right here at the front. It's nice that you have included both versions of the car. It's looking great, so that you can tell if you like that. You seem to have nicely done the front and rear similarities with that bumper layout. So overall, I think this is a pretty good design. Even though you morphed a little, maybe a little too much there. I shall let that slip, and that is looking good. Is it looking more than good? Nah, I don't think so. It's a good one. So 6. And now the photo itself. I think you did pretty well. That is a nice setup. You know, that looks like the wheels are spinning? Is that just the angle doing that? Or is this actually a little odd? Can't really tell. But compositionally, quite nice. This has some attitude, standing like this with the wheels slightly angled towards the viewer. It's looking good. And nice showing off the rear of the car as well. I quite like that. Although, I think you could have had a bit more gap between the cars. This here is a little tight. So if you just moved the back car a little further down there, just a meter or so, that would have given it a lot more breathing room. And also, what I would advocate for is, look at this down there. This looks like you're having the most phenomenal lighting on the background scene there, and you're not showing it. Very nice tonalities on the road and on the paints of the car. Beautiful, yes. This is really good lighting. A little highlighty here in the roof section, but that comes with the lighting itself, so it has other advantages. Really nice choice of color. Quite works well with the purple tinty sky color, and not so well with the red, but it's still good. It's still good. It works. Okay. So what do we say? Apart from these two, like a little bit more separation, probably a little lower angle, or slightly more zoomed out. I think in this case, just slightly more zoomed out so that we can see more of that. Maybe you actually cut out something that was distracting up there. I don't know. With the framing. So, I think this is an excellent image, apart from these little things. So, yeah, what do we do? That is probably a 7. And next up is Smithee. We have a look right here. What? Yep. Yes. Okay. Design. It's that again with the damn complex badging, which is really cool. A nice scene overall. I like it. Yeah, design-wise, I think the front works pretty well. Do we have a slight strip down the middle there? Yeah, I think so. 2 vents on the bonnet. Nicely far forward wing mirrors. Beautifully and broken up. Very good. Broken up. Side chromie strips. Vent down the side. Overall, really nice detail. quite enjoying this design. The rear, I think the badging here might be a little too much with how much you already have going on there. It seems high as well. I'd maybe expect it to be a bit more in the corner, maybe down there or something. And maybe even smaller. Jupiter maybe there and Callisto there, just to get the symmetry again. That could work. But overall, I quite like what you have done with the design here. I think the rear is looking very good too. And the placement of the number plate in the front and rear, also very good. It's nicely framed with this little bit here. And the sides, of course, the lines, just connecting beautifully. So overall, I think this design is strong. And I think that's a 7. And now for the picture itself. I think you have chosen a really creative scene. Night outside and just lights on the inside, which very much put the car nicely into some decent lighting. It makes taking a photo of the car so much easier to have proper inside lighting for it. So I think that it does work really well. You still have a bit of the night colors in here. Not sure if that is to your advantage with this slightly more purpley red. But the tonalities are still looking good. So I haven't don't have the opportunity to experiment with different paints here, but I think a slightly brighter colored car might have done a bit better here. You've some nice highlighting going on of the chromey bits and so on. It's not bad. The composition, very, very interesting. Like this car looking there with the little kink from this wheel pointing in this direction where we find the other car. So that is well done. Although, I do find that, yeah, I'm repeating myself, aren't I? There is very, very little difference, or very little gap between the wheel down here and the bottom of the frame. And that might be a little too little gap. Let's see what it looks like if we change that. Let's shift F5 the bastard. And there, oh, it managed. It managed. Oh, that. Holy shit, Photoshop, that was pretty good. Pretty solid, apart from the reflection here. It's all very well aligned. And the shadow of that car being way too long. But yeah, we can't know that. So, okay, now let's reframe it like we did last time. And, no, there's maybe a little too much. Something like this, maybe? Yeah, just having that little bit of extra gap just makes the image feel less claustrophobic there at the bottom. It is much more settled and nice to look at. And you still have all the important things in the frame. Like you wanted to show the moon, and you wanted to show the lights on the inside. I'm not quite sure if you really wanted to have these at a slight angle. That might be... There is something that is called Dutch angle, and then there's something that is called so little Dutch angle that it just looks like you didn't know how to hold the camera straight. And I think this is the latter. So it's not so good in that instance. Maybe just straight up shot where these lines are straight would work better. And if we reframe it and just straighten it out... I finally found it. There's the straighten tool. Yes, let's straighten it up. So you are off by pretty much 1 degree. 1 degree is not Dutch angle. That is a mistake, what they call a mistake. So that would be a little better. And now let's just recrop it like this. It doesn't quite look right like that either because of the perspective. So 1 degree was a little too much. Like 0.8, 0.7 would have been better. But I think you get what I'm saying. It's an unfortunate instance here with the situation in the scene that you have such clear lines and then the angle really makes it... Well, I agree that the cars look better at that angle, but if you have such strong lines in the scene, which people know should be straight, that is a little off-putting. Anyway, I think the image still, despite that, is such a nice attempt. If you can pull it off, I would like to see someone else or you try that kind of stuff again. Like night shot, but on the inside. Such a good idea. A little bit more space down there. And I think the shot will be. Let's go back to where it was. There. Okay, this was the original. I got sent. That is a 6. Is it the 6.5? No, it's a 6. It's a good shot. And next up is Total Techno. Let's F you and zoom you in as well. Design-wise, let's see what we have here. This really sticks out to me instantly. It's so framed and just bulges out. I don't think that's necessarily a good look to have that as pronounced as it is. Although I do like to have these chromy lines and the stripes that are not going the full distance and add a bit of like flames look, so to say, without actually being flames. The front is looking good. Some nice detail in the bonnet, a little hump there as well, and then some fins. Yeah, I quite like the fins stuff, even though that's... Oh no, that is 50s, yeah. No, that's quite fitting. Interesting idea. And overall, I think you pull that off pretty well, apart from that. That is too much in my eyes. Other than that, windscreen wipers seem to be missing. Am I missing them? No, they're not there. So that's also a missed opportunity. And also, what the fuck is this? Has someone broken into your car, mate? That's a broken window if I've ever seen one. Have you taped it or something? This looks horrible. But yeah, that's not down to the design, I don't think. Anyway, what do we give the design? I think it's pretty good. It's a good design. What do we give for good designs? Well, 6 means good. This is good. And now the image itself. I do think the lighting is extremely flat. The focus is a little questionable. You focused on this car's front. And overall, I think that might be a decent idea because you, at the same time, then get the rear of this car in focus, which is what you see first. But let me tell you something here. If you show this image to Westerners, they are going to read the image from left to right. So you get in here, there's the car, this is in focus, and then you are being led down the car to the front, and then you find this being blurry. I don't think that's too much of a good idea. This is the main car you're looking at. This is the car you're looking at first. It is the largest in the image, and that has its face not in focus. Try that with people photography, to have the main character not in focus. Only the secondary character, because this here is definitely a secondary character with his windows smashed in. And this I look at second, but at that time, this look of the not in focus car has already influenced my opinion of the image too much. And that's split seconds we're talking about here. But this is quite nice overall. I like it. So yeah, it's a mediocre image. You don't put the scenery to use quite as much as I would have liked. There's some strong lines going through here, but you don't use them for anything in the composition itself. Oh yeah, I think this is no more than... I think that the spacing is good and so on, but overall... Yeah, this image has some good aspects, but also plenty of bad, and that lands it at a solid 5. And the next entry is by Zikzak. That was you with the potato PC, right? The absolute potato machine. And that is still visible, but I think you have cranked it up quite significantly since last time. But it also looks like your potato machine doesn't even have enough texture memory to properly load in the number plates. They look terrible. Oh, I feel sorry for you, mate. That is an absolute potato. Probably uses as much energy as a potato produces too. Maybe you could run it on a potato. Potatoes can produce up to 8 watts. So that's pretty impressive. But, the design. Yeah, it's pretty solid. That's a solid design. It's definitely not mouth-watering in any shape or form. And you have all the things in place. It's good, but it doesn't strike me as anything special. I wouldn't really notice it on the road, so it's not bad. The badging on the rear, kind of working. It's a little large, and I can't really tell because of the photo highlighting it. But yeah, overall, I think this is a solid design. I'll give you a 5. And now the photo. I think you have upped your game a little bit here with the added quality, but somehow you now have chosen to make a landscape photo and then put a kind of weird car inside of it. Like this down here, like super high detail. Why do we have all that? If this up front, like you create this massive imbalance. This is dick space. Like this is where I paint dicks. And up there, we have so much detail that there's no dickishness going on. So I'm not sure about the balance. It seems odd. Like the balance of detail in an image is quite important for how weighty it feels, and this image is very top heavy. If you cut it off there, then it is more balanced, because this top part is very heavy while the bottom part is very light, and this creates this imbalance. There's no detail there. Usually you get that effect in the opposite direction with clear skies. Clear skies tend to be absolutely terrible for photography because you just create this massive negative space up on top of the image, giving you headaches for composition. But yeah, I think you have it the opposite way around here. Also, I really don't like the highlighting here. I can't even see what's going on there. And this also looks a little somewhat fake light. Maybe that is because your graphics card. No, you don't have a graphics card. You have a graphics chip. from the looks of it, maybe it just can't handle it. But yeah, it's not a great look. I think you deserve credit for trying a little harder. So I shall give you a 4.5 for this one. And next up is MGR99. And we shall zoom in a bit. That is quite the car, isn't it? Yeah, it's looking good. Instantly noticing this here. The Jupiter is there. Nice badging, very non-standard, but so that you see it. This looks fresh. I like the arrangement of the blinkers down there as well. Dual light setup, looks fancy, looks premium. Instantly gives me this premium vibe. And these on the bonnet? Yeah, I don't know what to think about them. Neither good nor bad. They kind of work. Badging seems okay. There's ridge along the center, giving it quite strong connection down the car. That's making me question these more, because you already have stuff to look at in general, and you lead through the image nicely. Also with the sideline, this is very nicely crafted, by the way. This curved line here, very good shape. Also this, looking like you put some effort into that. Not quite sure what that thing is there. But yeah, overall, car moving. Also nice touch. Overall, I quite like the look of it. I think that is a strong design. And with strong, we are talking... I think this is it's at least a 7. Is it quite great? Maybe not. But it's getting close. So this is a 7.5. So now the image. Yeah, I think you succeeded with what you were doing. I think it can be a little better. And I shall give it a quick try if I can work out some of it. But... very nice choice of focal point and general depth of field for the image. The sun in the background really creating super strong direction, because if you draw where the car's going, you get the sun right on that line. That is super strong because you're following the car and just go through the image, and then you end up at the point with the highest contrast in the scene. Really cool, really cool. That's very nicely done. What I don't quite like is the automation asphalt quality here, with the repeating kind of texture of it. Is it repeating? It kind of looks like it. Very wavy in some ways. I wouldn't know how to fix that, but it's not a great look for it. And other than that, nice highlighting. I think the color is cool. Horizon line spot on. There's not too much sky. There's not too much on the bottom. Good shadows. Just looks crisp. It's a very nice image. So I think this is it quite great? Nah, not quite. I think you get a 7.5. Really well done. And now I shall take this one into my little camera raw and see if I can pimp it up a bit. But not too much, because it's already really good. Alright, so first off, I have applied a mask on the car. And that I have applied to a little bit of extra contrast, but primarily more exposure. Making it a little warmer. Removing a little bit of the tint, of the purplish tint, so that the paint becomes a bit more closer to where it's supposed to be, and then added clarity to work out some of the micro contrasts, and that's basically it for that. And now let's see if we can pull out some more details. It's not perfect, of course. This is a hack job. It's not masked properly. That's the main thing. But yeah, let's see if we can work out some of the tonalities as well. Not really. You've done a pretty good job at this, or the photo is just as is, pretty well lit. So that's nice. And what more can we do here? No, it hasn't snowed. This is just a mask. I do want to get rid of some of that texture effect on the road, and I just reduced the texture rating there. Let's see if that actually does the trick, at least partially. Yeah, so this seems to be affecting it at least. So removing part of it, not all, but part of it, and less clarity. No, it makes it look blurry. Could add more clarity. No, that's taking way too much focus away from the actual car. So not making it too much, but just like that. And now let's compare before and after. And that is just a nuance difference. I think the car pops a lot more with my little edit, because not only have I reduced or made the car pop more, but also reduced the attention from that is drawn by the asphalt texture over there. So I think this is slightly better, maybe an 0.5 higher, but yeah, not by much. So really well done on the shot. And here's my version in large. I think that looks quite neat. And if we revert it, there you see the previous one. Can I redo? Yes. So that's the difference there. All right. Hope you enjoyed that little edit. And now the last one. The Jupiter OME. No, it is by OME, and holy shit, that's a photo. Come on, let's zoom you right in, and that's the edited version of the shot. I do have the unedited version here as well. Can show you that later. But okay, let's take a look at the design. First of all, this design is very visible because it really pops. It's really nice. I quite like it. It's simple. It's to the point. This is almost a little, isn't it a little Mustang-y looking up front with the lights in there or something? It reminds me of something. I'm not sure what. But yeah, the lights may be a little bit small. The main lights, just a fraction. It's a nitpick, but the grille setup very nice. And nice subtle badging here. The sides look pristine, like this line down the side and the arrangement of blinkers, vents, and the badging on the side is really strong. I like this too with the door handle there. And antenna on this side, nice little hood bulge there, and it's just everything. This is not necessarily a complex design, but it just has all the aspects, and I think it works so damn well. The only thing that I would say I would have liked to see a slight difference in is the size of the main headlights, just a tick larger. Not by much, but because it looks a bit like swollen eyelids or something, swollen eyes. Yeah, but otherwise really good. I love the yellow lights inset in the grille. I think this is a super strong design. This is difficult. Is it a great design? I would say almost. There's just a little thing missing. It could easily be in like there's not much missing to great or even slightly better than great. But I think that might be the photo that is making me think that, because the photo is so damn good. So I think the design itself, also looking at this down here, maybe that's the only element that feels slightly off. Not quite sure. So would be headlights and this. Okay, let's say this is a 7.5 in car design. I think it's really good. And now let's talk about the picture itself. I think this shot is friggin' amazing. That is so well done. And I want to show you the unedited version as well, like how it straight up came out of Automation. That is pretty impressive. Yeah, let's just load it in, throw it in there. So I almost think this version might be almost be better. Like I think the some in between point might have been the better option. But yeah, you see, it's basically just a slight shift in tonalities and some contrast and so on. So yeah, really well done. It's not just editing, which is always good to know. It's in general really good. So what I get instantly from this is strong attitude from the car, just a slight, it steers properly, and it looks in motion and at speed. It's great. And the scenery seems like flying by. It just has the right amount of motion blur on it. Can still see some detail in it, and the car overall is very nice and sharp. And that is something that you get with a decently high f value, like the focal, the ratio between opening and focal length, and that means, or f-stops, as you might call them if you are into photography, and that creates something that it has a very good depth of field, but it is blurred because of motion blur. That is difficult to create in real life, because that means that you have to have a reasonably long exposure time, and especially when you're stationary, like you're supposed to be here. That was the most fantastic superhuman pan ever, because everything is so in focus. But very strong motion following the road. Really good composition to have enough space to the sides on both ends. You can see where the car's coming from, but also where it's going. And the car is just the right size in the image, well proportioned to the rest of the scenery. Very nice scenery with the big rocks in the background, very thematic. And the color choice of the paint, superb, because you have very warm colors in here. And if you want to make something really pop, even the sky is almost washed out, it's slightly blue. But if you want to make something that really pops towards yellow, select what is on the opposite end of the U wheel, which in this case, 180 degrees off, would be this kind of blue. So very good choice to make it pop. The only thing, now comes nitpicky Killrob. the only thing that is keeping this image away from a 9 is this little thing here. If this was gone, or slightly subdued, maybe cut off there, which you're not allowed to do, by the way, so this is good, like you edited it in the right way. If this wasn't there, for a means of not taking the photo this way, which will be hard to do, I think this is a 9. Like this, with this, intruding into the car a little awkwardly into the front, that gets 0.5 reduction, but this is a almost fantastic image, and I rarely give high marks like this, and this could have been a 9 almost. So very, very nicely done, and that is an 8.5 for you, sir. And no, I did not automagically order these by who is going to win. It was by pure chance that this image came out last, because of the naming, of the odd naming that people have given their photos. Anyway, so who is taking it this time? Well, it is this shot by just a cunt hair, as they say. It is 16 points that OME takes the second round of the design photo competition. And Esdem is coming in close second with 15.5 points. And then MGR takes third place with 15 points. Really fantastic work there. I think that everyone, almost everyone, well, was it everyone? Looking at these stats, almost everyone has upped their game. And that is good to see. I want to see an equal increase for the next round. And with that, congratulations to OME, and very, very good entries by Esdem again, and MGR99 as well. And thanks for participating, y'all, and see you in the next round. And the competition is, of course, already open, in case you've missed that. The third car, the Mercury, is up next. I hope you enjoyed, and see you guys next time.